Hi, my name is Cassie Garcia. I am an instructor with GentleBirth, and today I want to give you just a little taste of one of the topics we discuss in our weekend workshops. And they are childbirth education workshops. So we talk about the amazing things that your body does during the process of labor and delivery, and it is amazing. But something that's often overlooked in this topic is the state of your mind and how it can affect your experience. So today I want to give you just a few little tips for noticing when your mind may not be in the state that it should or that is most beneficial, and for how to kind of switch it over. Your mind is kind of like a muscle. Just like athletes don't just wake up in the morning and suddenly they're good at things. They have to exercise. They strengthen those muscles by exercising regularly every single day. They practice a skill over and over again before they're really good at it. Same thing with our mind. Unfortunately, we tend to have a default mode in our mind, and that default is rarely positive. Just in the past minute or so that you've been watching this, you probably have allowed your mind to just wander to something else. Totally normal. We do this all the time. It really is a default for us. You're driving to work or you're doing the dishes, whatever you're doing, and your mind is somewhere else, thinking about other things. And that tends to be a negative thing. You may not realize this, and I certainly didn't before learning about it. But when our mind wanders, often it's stuck in the past or it's stuck in the future. It's rarely thinking about what we're doing at the moment. So if you're thinking about the past, maybe you're worrying about something that you said and what someone thought of it, or you're worried about what someone else said, or you're thinking about something you wish you had done differently. Maybe you're stuck in the future. You might be physically here driving to work, but mentally you're worrying about what's for dinner or if you're gonna be able to succeed at something. You're worrying about the future. Those are our default modes, and we just want to learn to just start switching to a focused mode where you're concentrating on what you're doing in the moment. A wandering mind has been connected with unhappiness. So when our mind continues to wander, it tends to not make things better. So let me talk to you about a few things that you may notice that are actually a distorted way of thinking, and just consider them. Think about whether you may have been caught in some of these unhelpful thinking styles. So I'm going to list off a few to you and see if any of them sound familiar. All or nothing thinking. Thinking all or nothing, or just black and white, or if I can't do everything right, I'm not going to do it at all. If I can't eat only healthy things, then I'm just going to forget it and eat junk food all the time. If I can't exercise every single day, I'm just going to give up my gym membership and give it up. I'm not going to be able to succeed. All or nothing. If I can't have the perfect birth that goes along with my plan, I don't know what I would do. It would be awful. It would be terrible. If I can't have everything on this plan happen the way I want, then it's going to be horrible. All or nothing. Overgeneralizing is another distorted thinking. So all my friends have had this, have had epidurals, or have not had epidurals. So if I have to do something different, that would just be awful because everyone does. Everyone does this, or everyone does that. Or every birth is scary and painful. I see them on TV. They start yelling and it's scary. It's kind of an overgeneralization. You're taking something that you've seen a little amount of experience, and you're assuming every experience is the same. Another way we have distorted thinking is to have kind of a mental filter. You may do this with your partner. You notice that negative thing. Oh, they left their sock on the floor again, or they left their toothbrush out, or whatever, and you forget to notice all of the wonderful things, all of the good things, and you're noticing just those bad things that drive you crazy. Or disqualifying the positive. So there's negative and there's positive about any situation, but a distorted way of thinking would be to assume that that positive is totally disqualified by the negative. An artist may create this beautiful work of art and see one mistake, and where everyone else sees something beautiful, they just see an error and they disqualify the whole thing and just throw it out, disqualifying the positive. Another example of distorted thinking is jumping to conclusions. We can do this when we try to mind read. Oh, she made a face when I said that. She thinks I'm a terrible mom because I made this choice. Or, oh, she probably disagrees with that, and I bet she's thinking that I've made a horrible choice. Or she must think I'm stupid because I don't know the answer to that question. You're trying to read minds. Fortune telling. When I go into labor, I'm so scared it's gonna be crazy, and I know I can't handle pain well, so I just better go ahead and plan on getting the epidural, or I better go ahead and plan a C-section because I know I'm not gonna be able to handle it. You're trying to be a fortune teller, and that is a distorted way of thinking. Emotional reasoning is a big one. A thought comes into your mind, and you assume that that thought is truth. I'm scared, so the situation must be scary. It's not always the case, but we often jump to that conclusion. I feel embarrassed, so I must be an idiot. I must be stupid. That is emotional reasoning. We're allowing a thought or an emotion to determine reality. Just because you have a thought doesn't make it the truth. Another example would be personalization. My husband can attest to this. I have done it, and now that I'm learning more about it and I recognize it, I'm not sure that I still wouldn't make the same mistake, but I can definitely notice when I am having these wrong personalizations. My example is late nights when my baby just won't stay asleep, and I forget the fact that he's had a wonderful experience. He's slept well almost since birth. But sometimes we go through phases where he's teething, or he's upset, or who knows. And I'm up for the 20th time, and I've changed him, and I fed him. He's not too warm, and he's warm enough, and I just don't know what else to do. And I comfort him again for the 21st time, and I look at my son, and I've said these words to him: "You just don't want me to sleep." And my husband's like, "What are you talking about?" And I have put that thought into my mind that he's saying that, and of course he's not saying that. My infant, my newborn, was not ever thinking, "I'm just gonna keep my mom awake all night. I'd love to see how she acts when she has no sleep." It's not happening, but sometimes your mind just makes these situations. He's not thinking that. But that was one of my distorted thinking, that my son was trying to just not ever let me sleep. And of course, those times pass. Another distorted thought that we have all had, and it's especially common in mothers, new mothers, mothers-to-be, is the attack of the shoulds. I should have had this baby already, or I should be going into labor. I should be able to breastfeed easily, or this baby should be sleeping all night by now. And these things are just not always the case. They're usually a sign of distorted thinking. So what can you do about it? What can you do to change that distorted thinking, that default into a more positive thing, and focus on the task at hand? And the first step is just to notice, I just had this thought. I remember this is the distorted way of thinking. My mind has just wandered, and I'm worrying about something that might happen in the future that I don't even know if it will happen. I've noticed that thought, and I'm gonna name it. I'm gonna give it a title, and I'm not gonna judge myself for having that thought. I'm just simply going to name it. I'm stressed. I'm tired right now. My baby's not sleeping. I'm tired. I'm worried. I'm afraid. And as soon as we name that thought, your mind can realize it's just a thought. It's not reality. It's not permanent. This is just a thought I'm having right now. That's the first step. And then just refocus. Refocus on what you're doing. If you're washing dishes, focus on getting that plate clean. If you're in labor, your focus, maybe you want to focus on your breathing. Taking that breath in and letting it out. But if you wait until labor to practice these skills, it's going to be way more difficult because we have a default, and we'll go back to that. But just like an athlete practices and practices, so on the day of the event, they don't have to worry, it's kind of an instinct now because they've replaced an old default with a new one. You can do that too. So practicing with the GentleBirth app is a great way to do this, and we talk about it more in our workshops. But you can refocus just on the moment, on what you're doing. And if you have to refocus several times, don't beat yourself up, that's normal. You may refocus on the moment, and then a couple minutes later, notice that you're doing it again and you need to refocus. Probably 15 or 20 seconds later, you'll have to do it again, and that's okay. That's completely normal. But we can get on these tracks before labor, and that can help you on the day. You can develop that mental ability, strengthen those muscles in your mind. Of course, they aren't muscles, but we really do talk about this more in our workshops, and I would love to offer you some more support in this area. So if you're liking what you hear, check out our workshops, check out the app, and I'd love to hear what you think about it. Thanks for watching.